one thing doesn't change. You just have to make more putts.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you make more putts, it cleans up a lot of that other stuff, right?
Yeah, I had an instructor when I was a kid who used to tell me, like, going forward, the most important clubs in your bag are gonna be the driver and the putter. And I was like, there's no way. Like, you got 14 clubs, like you got your irons, you got your chipping or whatever. Like, I didn't think the driver and the putter, but it's so apparent these days.
Part 3 podcast.
Let's fucking go.
Stephen Malbon.
Oh my goodness.
Let's get right into it.
Put him down for the birdie, dog.
Just a bit outside.
Gang is back together.
Somebody give me your fucking putter. Hoard the putt in. I had to make it. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the world famous Part 3 podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Stephen Malbon. J.R. Smith could or should be tapping in any minute, and we're very happy to have the one and only Brandon Wu, one of our good buddies from the tour and Stanford's finest, Mr. Brandon Wu.
Yeah, what's up? Thanks for having me.
What up? How have you been?
Yeah, pretty good. Right now in the midst of a couple weeks off before our final stretch of the fall season. So, nice to be at home and see some friends while I'm here. And then, back on the road and back to work.
And home's in Dallas?
Yeah. I moved to Dallas pretty much right after Stanford. So I've been here almost 5 years now. And, this is home for me.
So J.R. Smith, a.k.a. Swish, just moved to Dallas as well. They had a new baby, and his baby mama, she's from Dallas, so that's why they're there. And he has a simulator in the crib and a man cave and all that, and he's playing golf all over and such. But you're playing at Trinity, is that right?
Yeah, Trinity Forest.
So Trinity Forest, if J.R. is a 4 handicap, how many strokes does he get off of you?
Yeah, so at Trinity, they usually make me play to a +6, so I think I'd give them 5 aside. It's a good course. Like, I think anyone can go low out there. It's pretty wide off the tee, so as long as you can get your tee balls in play, the greens can be a little tricky. They're pretty undulated and some subtle breaks going on as well. But we'd have a good match out there.
And some of the other guys who plays there, Jordan. Are there other tour guys out there?
A lot of SMU guys. So SMU practices there at Trinity Forest. So guys like Harry Higgs and Kelly Craft, and they've all stuck around. But then Trinity's kind of also like a second club for a lot of these guys. So like you said, Jordan Spieth works with Cameron McCormick, who Cam has his Altus school right at Trinity Forest. So Jordan's out there practicing. Tom Kim will be out there practicing. So I play with him a little bit. It's a good group of guys here at Trinity Forest.
Love it. And I know a lot of the LPGA players live down there in Dallas. I think NG and Minji and Yalimi, Lee Six. There's like a whole squad of like the KLPGA turned LPGA stars that all live in, I think, the same neighborhood down there. Do you know where that is?
Yeah, I would guess like up in maybe like Carrollton. I think that's a really popular area. There's lots of great Korean food, so I'll go there every once in a while to eat and see some friends. But I think Dallas has just been a hot spot for golf. It's easy to travel. The weather's decent enough so you can play year round. And courses like at Trinity are really great for the pros. They offer really nice deals. They take care of us really well, and just a good place to live.
That's lovely. Speaking of Harry Higgs, so I played with Harry in some pro-am or something, and he was hitting these like low climber irons the whole time. After like 4 or 5 holes, the ball would like land and roll a foot and stop. And so after like 5 holes, I was looking at him and he's like, "You want to know what I'm doing, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, like what the hell are you doing?" And he said, "Well, I take 2 extra clubs, so I'm horrified, and then I just have to chip it and not use my arms. So if he should hit a 6, he's hitting a 4 iron, and he's just like these little flighty climbers." I'll never forget it, that control he had.
Yeah, I think people often overlook his game. Like, he's got some pretty silky mitts for maybe a bigger guy, and he can really putt and chip and has those nice hands on those flighted shots. So he's pretty impressive to watch and play. And he's obviously a fun guy too, so it makes it good times.
Yeah, he's a good time. So I got a question for you as a tour player. How many times around do you hit the ball hard?
I actually love taking off a club more than anything. Like I rarely just step up and really try to hammer a club because I feel like, at least for me, like it's easy to kind of hit it left if I'm really trying to hammer it. Like I'd way rather hit a soft seven than a hard eight. I think the only trouble I have sometimes is that the spin comes down, it comes off a little bit lower. So if we're playing a really firm golf course, like you might need the spin or the height on the ball. But yeah, I feel way more controlled just sort of like hitting a 3/4 shot than trying to like hammer home an 8 iron.
Yeah, and I think that's like a lot of like what a lot of amateurs do. They think pros hit the ball really hard. It's like, no, I don't think like Tony Finau told me once. He said he might hit the ball hard once a round. Like in 18 holes, like one time he'll hit it hard. Again, if it's
Yeah.
like a certain pin or if it needs to spin or something in that nature. But that's cool to hear.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I think keeping it controlled is sort of the your best asset out there.
Yeah, that's good that you have 14 clubs. Like if you want to hit it further, just take a different club.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
it makes sense. So for everyone listening, me and Brandon first met. I live up in Pebble Beach, and I think the first time we either maybe have seen you once or twice prior when you were down playing Cyprus at while you were at Stanford. And I forget my friend's name. One of the guys that was on your team at Stanford's from New York,
Yeah,
and I
Ethan.
Ethan, young Ethan. So Ethan,
Yeah.
I know Ethan's dad from when I lived in New York, and so next thing you know, my friend Sammy was shooting you guys at Cyprus when you were at that
Yeah,
practice
yeah.
round or tournament or whatever. And then I met you and your girlfriend when you guys were on the putting green at the Pebble Beach AT&T Pro Am.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I was with young Q. That's when I was made my caddying debut for Q, which was that's a whole nother story.
Oh yeah.
And that was pre the signature events, right?
Yeah, that would have been Pebble the last year before the signature event. But yeah, I guess it's a little bittersweet, right? Because I think it's such a great event, and like I'm glad it's being showcased on such a national stage. Like having the best players go play Pebble and play the AT&T Pro Am. It's pretty cool, get everyone there and everyone to be able to watch. But also, I guess, kind of unfortunate that the field had to be cut. Like I think they only had like 80 amateurs this year instead of usually like almost 160. Aren't getting to play. We didn't get to play MPCC as well this year. But so like I said, yeah, a little bittersweet. But I love that event. Pebble's my favorite place in the world, so I love being able to play out there.
And did you play in it this year?
I did, yeah. This year was crazy because we had some crazy weather and got shortened to 3 rounds. I
Yeah, it
remember we were
was wild.
sitting around Sunday and not knowing what was going to happen. I was staying at my friend's house and it was awesome. But just kind of watching the storm roll in and the wind and the course destruction and yeah, pretty crazy to learn that we didn't have to final round to play in.
Yeah, I remember like being there because Jason is in it, was playing really well. I think he got like top 10 or I don't know. He was trying to hunt Wyndham down. It was funny. Jason's on Saturday. He shot like I don't know 63 or 4 or something, right? And he played really well. And then when I saw him after, he was like, "Dude, my kids were sick, and he's on a tour bus like Jordan is." So he's like, "My kids were sick, and they kept me up all night. I only got like 4 hours sleep." So I think it goes back to what we were talking about. It's like he was too tired to hit the ball hard, and he was just
Yeah,
like
yeah,
chipping it around Pebble, just
yeah,
controlled flighty shots. But I remember like on Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday, when we were out there practicing and he's, doing all of that, they kept saying like there's a big storm coming Sunday. There's a big storm coming Sunday. And so I was thinking on Sunday when they canceled it Sunday morning or something, and he like texted and said, it's not happening. We just questioning like, could they have done 36 one day or something to get it done, but I guess it's very challenging when you have so many people involved and shuttling people in. And although the course may have been okay, then how do you get people in there safely and in and out?
yeah. I think they were trying to do everything possible because their priority is definitely to get in 72 holes in these events. But I think the only problem was that I think the course had a little bit of damage from all the wind and the rain on Sunday. So it would have taken, I don't know, a long time on Monday to be able to clean up the course. And by then we wouldn't be able to play the final round anyways, because I there's something about like a hard stop where like I don't think they can finish on Tuesday or something like that. So it's like if they're not able to finish Monday, then they just would rather not play it. So yeah, kind of a unique circumstance. That was my first time playing a 54 hole event on tour. So yeah, pretty interesting there.
Yeah, it's wild. It's such a challenge. Like, I can't even imagine, like, coming from Stanford and going through that to being on the tour, and as much like corporate, policies and such from even things like that, like finishing a tournament and there's rules. Oh, you can't go into Tuesday because the guy's got to go to the next tournament. And like, well, we got to get to waste management or whatever is next. Right. And so it's like, well, if we wait too long, then we're going to freak everyone out in Arizona because everyone's going to be late and they won't have enough practice time. But even recently, like over the last couple of days, I heard about like this stuff where they're like shortening or they're giving like less exemptions into Corn Ferry into the tour, and that they're trying to shorten the field a bit, where I guess there'll be more people who get into the signature events, but less people will get their tour cards a year or something. So it's just like such a moving pieces. There's so much moving pieces to it where like, you're out there just trying to play golf really well, but there's so much cooking behind the scenes at all times from the, all of it. I guess, like, how do you feel about just being like in the big league?
Yeah, it's fairly interesting. I mean, this is my third year on tour, and it's just been change every year, with the emergence of Live and all the different changes with the signature events and all that stuff. So, like I said, yeah, we're kind of just on our toes every year, just trying to figure out what's next. Yeah, like you said, I think they're trying to shorten the fields a little bit. I think they're going to promote only 20 guys instead of 30 guys from the Corn Ferry Tour. And then I think only 100 guys are keeping their card instead of 125. I kind of see it both sides, right? Like, I totally understand. Like, I feel like if I was a casual golf fan, like, I'm more interested in the superstars. I'm more interested in seeing Rory battling out with Tony and Jason Day and all those guys going head to head. And I would love for the product to offer that as much as possible, right? Like, get these guys playing the same events, playing the same golf course and competing against each other as much as we can. But, like from my perspective though, like I've kind of been on the fringe a little bit more this year. And it's like, I would love for there to be more tour cards available than just 100. I get like, it is what it is. And, in golf, we always say like, you can always play better. Right. So,
Yeah.
we're all aware of the rules. We all know how to achieve status and how to keep our cards and how to do well. So it's all just about doing it. And, I don't think it's unfair or anything at all. It just keeps changing and we just kind of gotta keep updating, our role and how we can fit in and go from there.
One thing doesn't change. You just have to make more putts.
Yeah.
Right. Like if you make more putts, it cleans up a lot of that other stuff. Right.
Yeah. I had an instructor when I was a kid who used to tell me like, going forward, the most important clubs in your bag are going to be the driver and the putter. And I was like, there's no way. Like, you got 14 clubs, like you got your irons, you got your chipping or whatever. Like I didn't think the driver and the putter, but it's so apparent these days, like driving it straight is obviously a huge premium. But then you just have to make putts like every week. It's basically comes down to who's putting better. You got to hit it well. And then if you can make some putts, that's when you can make your runs.
We were just out at Jason did a charity thing at his house, and my 12-year-old plays golf. He did a fundraiser with his wife at some golf course in Ohio or something. And we were at his house, and he's got like 4 holes at his house and a barn. He's got all this like wild stuff there, and a beautiful home on a lake in Ohio. And he was talking to Remington, who's got a really good swing. 12 years old. He's grew up playing golf, and Jason was kidding with him, but maybe not kidding, saying like, Remy, you already strike the ball better than me and your swing's better than mine already, but like I've made quite a good living playing golf. And Remington's like, yeah, like look around, you got a mansion and your own private golf course. And Jason's like, yeah, it's all pretty much because I'm good at chipping and putting.
Yeah,
like that's really why.
No, yeah, for sure. I think like I have a stats guy that I use and he'll send over a deck every week, like what's important on this golf course. And pretty much every week, putting is like the biggest separator and differentiator from people who are playing well and people who aren't playing well. So it's crazy that, we're guys are driving at 300 yards and whatnot, but it just comes down to your 6 and 7 footers and who's making the most of those.
Yeah, that's what he was telling. That's what he was telling Remy. He was like, most of the players are going to hit the ball well, and they're all going to hit. Most of them are going to hit the green. But like, oh shit, Swish is in the building. You see him?
Yeah, we see
All
him.
right. We're about to tap Swish in here. But he's basically just saying that, like, yeah, like on a par 3 with a tee, you take all the different pros, like, most of them are going to hit the green. Most of them are going to hit the fairway. But, like, who's going to make the putt? And you can get up and down out of the bunker for par or lip out for a 6-foot birdie for par, and
Yeah.
you still made a par. Is interesting.
Yeah, and the margins get so thin, especially out on tour. Like it's crazy. Like just having a hot putting week, and it's interesting. Like you think like most guys are having hot putting weeks all the time, but like me and my friends kind of talk about it, like it's only a few times a year for us that you have like a really hot putting week. So you just want to make sure you're hitting it well that week and taking advantage of making some putts. So yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Stephen Malbon here. We'd like to present to you our sponsor, Glen Grant. Built as the first distillery in Scotland over 180 years ago, the Glen Grant single malt Scotch whiskey brings together inspiration from around the world. The Glen Grant crafts a range of single malt whiskeys which are delicate and complex with distinctive character. A new offering from the Glen Grant, released this year, is distinguished 25-year-old. It's fantastic and perfect after a long round of golf, or during if you're like us. Matured in American oak bourbon barrels and sherry casks for over a quarter of a century. Bottled at 46% ABV, the whiskey tastes of dark chocolate, zesty orange, oak, and nutmeg that finished with lingering warm spices and a hint of soft smoke. Make every sip count with Glen Grant today.
The Glen Grant. Drink responsibly. Copyright 2024, Campari America, New York, New York.
Yo, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
My bad, B. What's going on? Brando's how you?
It's all good.
Hey, how are you?
I'm home for a couple weeks here in Dallas before my next tournament, so we're just hanging out.
Oh, really? I'm in South Lake.
Oh, really? Yeah. I live pretty close to American Airlines Center, so like right downtown, uptown, right in that area. And,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Where it's happening at.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm out here with the bougie ass rich folks who ain't doing shit. Fucking the gas station closed at 9 o'clock.
Hey, we already talked about it, Swish. I said, if Swish is a 4 and you go play, and I'm sure you will, go play Trinity Forest, how's it going to work? And he said he plays to a +6, so he'd have to give you 5 aside. I said, oh, hey.
I'm not gonna lie, you giving me 10. I'm feeling good.
So yeah, I'm listening to me saying that. That sounds like a lot too, but I don't know. We'll see.
Nah, I'm not gonna lie. The way I've been playing pretty bad. I played today at Eastside's Invitational for it's like a celebrity pro-am for the golf event or for their college event with HBCUs, and I sprayed it today. Fortunately, I won money, but I sprayed it.
Trinity, you're in luck because it's pretty wide off the tee. So I feel like as long as you can kind of keep it in play, you got a chance to score. There's some scoreable par 5s. The greens kind of get tricky. As I mentioned earlier, like a lot of undulation, kind of some subtle breaks with the grain and stuff. But it's a fairly fun course to play, I would think.
It's one thing I've learned about out here is way more grain in Texas than it is in Florida.
I grew up in California playing in something you're completely not used to, and you kind of just got to start paying attention. And because if you don't pay attention, you'll hit some putts, and you're wondering like, what the hell did I just do? Did I hit a bad putt? Like, did I completely misread that? But oftentimes it's just the grain sort of pulling it a little way, and you used to have to play mind games with yourself if you're not paying attention.
Sure. So you're from Cali?
Yeah, so I was born in the East Bay, a town called
Okay.
Danville. And then, grew up playing golf there. That's kind of how I started. But we moved around. We actually lived in Beijing for 5 years. And then our family moved to New York. So we lived in Westchester, New York for a while growing up as well.
Oh, nice. Why'd you settle in on Texas? I love it.
Yeah,
here,
so-
but I'm just asking.
Yeah. No, that's a good question. People ask me that all the time. And so I feel like when people start to turn pro, like they're mostly looking for states where cost of living is a little bit cheaper. and then good enough weather to play year round, right? So, because especially
Yeah.
when we're traveling so much, like I think last year spent over 30 weeks on the road, so you're just kind of looking for a home base, and Dallas seemed to me like it had the combination of like being a real city as well as having all the golf stuff. Like I felt like when I was at home, I wanted to have friends that could get me a little bit away from the golf, like, and it ended up like most of my friends like to play golf, but they're not playing professionally. They're just playing on the weekends. So, we can go out and have fun, and they're working normal jobs. And I feel like as normal of a life off the golf course. And
Mhm.
I feel like another added perk, like Dallas being in the middle of the country, like nice airports, like it's so easy to
Yeah.
get around, like, and that makes travel way easier.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. I mean, I'm close to the airport, so it's like, I mean, it's super easy, and catching a flight anywhere is really easy. So I mean, I love it. My lady brought me out here, so I can't take any credit for it. But I mean, it's a great spot. A lot of guys, I just realized a lot of guys are over there at Marydo. Which Steve, when you come out in 10 days or whatever,
Yeah.
we got to get out there. It is fucking incredible.
That's where you just played today?
No, I played Marydo the day before yesterday. Today I played PGA West in Frisco.
Oh yeah.
Um, me, Mark Ravelin and CJ Paul and those boys. We played a little 6-hole matches, and your boy came out victorious. Feeling
Three
good.
sixes. Three
You know,
sixes.
guys who it's crazy, bro, and it's wild because I didn't realize it. Like being a golfer and like playing in Texas, the wind out here is completely different than what people anticipated. Like it's not next to the water, so it's not like that ocean wind or whatever. But like, bro, it gets swirly and gnarly. I can see why guys like elevate their game out here. You like
Yeah.
working on knockdowns and being able to flight shots, bro. You could get your numbers on down. It could be good. It could get spooky. But I like my chances though. I ain't gonna lie. 5 aside, I
Yeah.
mean,
5 aside sounds
I'll
pretty
take
nice.
that. I'll take that. J Kid was telling
Sam,
me about Trinity Forest, so we got to get out there.
Yeah.
and hold up real quick. So you grew up playing in the East Bay and then played what? Junior high, high school, junior golf, USGA, all of that stuff?
Yeah, so so played like there's a tour in Northern California, like the JGANC, so that's like the really junior, like Northern California tour. So played that, and then when we moved around, like high school, I actually went to boarding school. I went to Deerfield Academy up in Massachusetts, so pretty light on the golf season actually. There's still snow on the ground sometimes in April, so we didn't play that much golf. I started playing like AJGA events, which was kind of like a national type junior league, and I think
Mm-hmm.
one of the top ones. So that kind of set me up for trying to get recruited, trying to play in college. Ended up getting recruited to go to Stanford, which was honestly a dream come true. And ever since we left California, I always wanted to go back. So that was perfect. Like unreal weather. We got to play some sick courses, played against some really nice teams, and played with some good players at Stanford. So that was unreal.
Rose was there with you. Rose was playing on the girls' team at
Uh,
Stanford.
yeah, our girls team was sick every single year we were there. On the men's side, I played with Maverick McNeely for 2 years. That was awesome. He was the number one amateur in the world at the time. Tied the record for wins at Stanford with Patrick Rogers and Tiger Woods, so he's in some great company. But yeah, the girls' side was unreal. Like I played Andrea Lee was a year below me, and she's a stud. She's already won on the LPGA. Roseanne was a few years behind me, so I actually didn't overlap with her at Stanford, but I got to know Rose a little bit. We played the Pan American Games down in Peru one year, so that was fun. And yeah, she obviously went to Stanford and dominated, and has also dominated the LPGA. So some good talent on the women's side coming out from Stanford.
What is that? I was going to ask you, what is that like? Like, growing up in the game of golf. Like for me, growing up in basketball, and like my dream school was like Carolina, and I ended up getting my scholarship to go to Carolina. Fortunately, I didn't have to use it and go. I ended up going out of high school. But like, what is that experience like in golf for you? Like, getting that dream school scholarship and then being able to step on campus and then have success. Like, what was that? What was that journey like?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, like just unreal, like dream come true. And obviously Stanford has some great tradition with Tiger Woods playing there, played 2 years, won 11 times. Tom Watson actually is a Stanford golf alum.
Yeah,
Maybe a little bit less known of a fact than Tiger, but yeah, just awesome. And like, I feel like something so cool about Stanford is like everyone's there for their own reasons and like incredible in something they do, like in my freshman dorm, meeting people who had started their own companies and their nonprofits and just crushing it in their classes and all that stuff. So, you kind of like fit in, right? Like I was, I guess, decent at golf, but, everyone else is good at their own things. So you're kind of just like I try to just soak it all in, right? Like try to learn from everyone that I met, learn about their backstory and learn about what makes them really special. And yeah, I felt like I made so many good friends during my time at Stanford. The golf was unbelievable. We won a national championship my senior year, so that was a pretty sweet
shit.
way to cap off my 4 year journey. So yeah, that was awesome. But yeah, it goes by quick, it's pretty crazy. So I was super glad for it.
Yeah, we'll talk about the difference between, for me, like it's a lot different when you go out there playing for a team and then you playing for yourself. Like, what's the like, what was the, like, your biggest challenges or battles that you had to overcome, like, when you go from team golf opposed to playing, like, for your own green jackets and win championships and stuff for yourself?
Yeah, for sure. Like, I would say, like, people usually ask me, like, did I love golf from a young age? And honestly, like, I didn't really love it when I was a kid. Like, I thought it was kind of boring. Like, you just go by yourself, you're practicing and do all that. So it's not that fun. But once we got to middle school, I got to play on my middle school golf team, and that was awesome. Like, now you're going with your buddies to the golf course every day and playing and hanging out. So that was pretty cool. But when I got to Stanford, I felt like that was a little bit next level. Like, I remember thinking my freshman year, like I would get like I was always like pretty calm and collected on the golf course, but once I started playing for Stanford, like I'd get heated, I get pissed off, like I was like, because I felt like if I wasn't playing well, like I was letting my team down, right? Like so,
Yeah,
I think it took a little bit of an adjustment to be like like keep that stuff like sort of on the back burner, and the best way to contribute to your team is just to play well yourself, right?
yeah,
So
absolutely.
so yeah, that was kind of an interesting transition for me. Like I just remember I was like so pissed and so like nervous and stressed, like trying to play well for my teammates because I felt like I was letting them down. So
Nah, I
yeah, it was
feel you,
fun to
bro.
play on a team. Yeah.
I feel that.
Hey, Swish, I was just asking him, like, going from like playing golf at college or whatever, and then getting into like we were talking about how there's so much shit. Like, this is his third year on tour, and like, there was the whole live thing, and then there was this thing, then there was this signature event, and now they're doing some other stuff where there's going to be less people get their card, and there's so much like back red tape, back of house action happening, etc. So like I can't even imagine with you, Swish, of like how much stuff was happening, people getting traded teams. I mean, he said it's just like you're just kind of like on a like eggshell, just kind of waiting to like see what's next type of thing at all time. A lot of the guys probably feel like that. But what do you think from the basketball? It was similar?
Yeah, I mean, kind of, but not really, because for us, it's like, it's hard to get into the concept of being like an individual contractor like golf, when you're playing basketball, because no matter what team you go to, you're playing for a team. So it's like, in golf, at the most real, I mean, to me, like, as far as like switch up, it'd be like changing equipment or something like that. But like, when I look at it, it's like it's so different, because in basketball, regardless of somebody gets traded or not, he still can, regardless of what team he goes on, he's relying on four other people he plays with, no matter what, at all times. In golf, it's like the adjustments from, somebody who's, a +5, +6, and somebody who's a +7, +8 is literally like the point four like percent. It's just who's making birdies and who's making pars that day. You can go out there and shoot 63, for 3 days in a row, but if you shoot 67, and one guy just shot 65, and it's just like he was shooting 64, 62, and then there, like it's literally just that close. So for me, like it's so. That's why I feel like golf and baseball is definitely the hardest sports, you can hit a good shot and still be in a terrible lie. Like that never happens in anywhere else. Like if I shoot a good formed shot and it feels good and it feels right, like yeah, I might miss, but it might not. Like it'll hit the front rim and have a chance to go in, or the back rim and have a chance. Like in golf, bro, you can hit the perfect drive and be in a bunker drilled with like no chance of getting out. You got to play out sideways. Like that shit is astronomically hard, bro. Especially when you start adding in the weather factor when it's 30, 40 blowing and like, bro, I played Marido from the tips 2 days ago and it was blowing 40. I'm like, what am I doing out here? I'm like, what am I doing?
Yeah, it's tough. Even putting, like when you putt a putt and it's like perfectly breaking and it's coming in, it's turning, and then the last like 1 inch it goes straight. It's like, how did that just happen? Like, how did that happen? 30-foot putt, it's in the back of the cup the whole way, and then the last 2 inches it like turns the other way. It's like,
but somebody else could hit a putt off of a rock that'll skip and go in.
Yeah.
But guess what? He made par. You made 6.
Yeah.
Jesper Parnevik, he's on our team, and he always is talking shit. And he played with Tiger a bunch, Ryder Cups, this, that, and the other. And he's like, there was something weird with that guy. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, it would be like, I played the same courses as he did, and it would be like a putt, breaking, breaking a cup left or right, and then it's breaking left or right. And he would just push the shit out of the putt, and the putt would turn and break the wrong direction and go in the hole. And he's like, what the fuck? Like, that putt doesn't go that way. Tiger's like missing putts, but then they go in the hole, which is like, we've all done that, where it's be like, it's like a 5-foot putt, and you like pull the putt and it goes in, and you're like, thank God I pulled it. Because like I wouldn't have made it if I hit it pure.
Yeah.
Okay, so quick question here, real quick. So at Stanford, it was a Nike team? Is that right?
Yeah.
So you're on Nike team. What clubs did you play as like a junior, high school, middle school? What equipment?
Yeah, so I played all Titleist pretty much since middle school and was able to stick that throughout college. And I still use Titleist to this day.
So that never changed, but you went from Nike to Adidas year one?
Yeah. First year that I turned pro, and it honestly was really fortunate that it worked out because I'd never worn Adidas or never knew too much about Adidas, being a Nike school at Stanford, but it worked out great, and still been with them ever since.
That's lovely.
It's got some comfy stuff, man. I can't lie.
Yeah. No, I love the brand. Like, I think some people make fun of me for wearing Adidas all the time, but like I love obviously they do some amazing golf stuff, but they have some nice like streetwear stuff too, right? Like it's not just like an athletic brand. Like they have, I feel like, a nice impact on the streetwear scene. So I kind of like that as well off the golf course.
Yeah, for sure. The lifestyle has been like it's definitely been growing for a while. And don't let people talk about you, bro. As long as that money keep coming in, dog.
And Adidas is doing good. That money, I've seen like quarterly reports or something where like Nike's getting kind of having like a really, really rough time. And then like Adidas is making like a super charge right now, so it is interesting to see like number one and number two, like you guys are obviously professional athletes, but thinking of, Nike and Adidas, like them kind of going back and forth. And like when one person's, it's sad, but like, it's like if the PGA Tour and like Scotty Scheffler starts playing like shit, all the other dudes are like, thank God, right? I got a chance. I got a chance.
Yeah.
Man, I got a chance. Finally, a window.
Yeah.
So out here is like obviously a big, it's a big pro scene, or like a big, pro golfer scene. Like, do you guys have good matches? Or like, do you play good games with you guys? Or like, is it like, you guys just work and keep it to yourself? Like,
no, I think there's a lot of camaraderie, especially at Trinity, and like there's a couple other clubs I've gone to, like Brook Hollow here in Dallas or Dallas National. We'll go play games.
Hearing about Brook Hollow.
Yeah, Brook Hall is sweet. You got to check that out.
for
It's
sure.
it's a fun time. Yeah, and Merido, obviously, Merido is probably one of the toughest tests in town. But yeah, I think it's good. Like usually in an off week, I'll practice for a few days, and then towards the weekend, I'll try to play a game or something. Just sort of keep sharp before we leave for the next tournament, just to have play a little money game and do whatever. And yeah, I feel like I moved to Dallas right before COVID, like right when COVID was starting, and basically thrown a fire into these Hammer Wolf games and whatever. I
Hmm.
honestly didn't know much about it.
Yeah.
Had to learn real quick, or else I was losing a lot of money. So yeah, it's fun to go out with some guys, and yeah, there's actually a lot of good players at Trinity too. So we'll give them a couple shots, and we'll have some competitive matches, and it's a good time out there.
Nice. Nice. Real quick, what's the most you've ever won on a golf course?
The most I've ever won, I think I won $1,200. We played this like cross country event at Trinity, which is hilarious. Like they do an event usually in December or whatever, where they'll kind of go from different tee boxes to different greens, and you're
Mm,
just like playing all throughout the golf course, and it's like a unique setup.
that's dope.
Yeah, it was fun. We were playing with some guys that like to gamble, and I had a good partner, and it came down to the wire. But I think we came away with $1,200, so that was pretty good. Paid half my rent that
Nice.
month. Yeah.
What about on the other side of it? How much you lost?
Okay, so how much? This is actually a good story. I played down in San Diego at Rancho Santa Fe Golf Club. Was invited by Charlie Hoffman. We played Phil Mickelson, me, Emiliano Grillo, Brendan Steele, and Charlie Hoffman. So a fivesome. And yeah, I got absolutely waxed that day. I think Brendan Steele shot 8 under, so he took all the money. And yeah, it was a fun day. Kind of going around with some absolute legends of the game and
That's
learning from them
dope.
a little bit. And yeah, it's fun. Like makes you feel like a part of things, right? Like makes you feel like you belong a little bit. Just kind of getting used to playing with these guys and competing with them. And so I thought that was such a memorable experience for me.
You didn't Venmo, did you?
No, I think they like to use cash. So yeah, I know I owed Brendan Steele some money, so I was like, dude, I'll see you in Napa next week. I made sure I brought him cash, and I was nervous. I felt so bad. So yeah, he
I'm the
got me though.
Venmo king, dog. Venmo, Apple Pay. Come on, bro. I know you got an iPhone. Come on, bro. I think we should, man. We got to create an app for caddies, bro. Like we gotta create an app for caddies to be able to pay the caddies off the app, man.
Yeah,
We got to figure it out.
yeah. Maybe you can involve him in the action. Like, yeah, I feel like we're paying our caddies 8 to 10% on tour. Like, I feel like if you're going out gambling with your boys and you win, you got to tip your caddy the eight to ten
Yeah, you
percent,
gotta
right?
for
They
sure. You
they
gotta
need
look
some
out for the
action.
guy.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, that should be definitely be more of a rule. Like if I win, if I got a cat, if I'll start fucking with the caddy by on like the 13th hole. It's like, dude, I'm giving you everything I win anyway. So like, let's lock
yeah,
in. Let's
yeah,
go. Like
yeah,
if we win 300, you're getting it.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
and then they start reading putts differently. They start
yeah.
really, really caring.
Start dialing in, rolling it up. Hold up.
How'd you get your caddy? Who's your caddy?
Yeah, so right now, his name's Danny. He actually caddies at San Francisco Golf Club, kind of in his off time.
SFG.
Yeah, yeah, sweet spot actually. One of my favorite
Tillinghast.
courses in the Bay. Yeah,
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 for sure.
yeah. I feel like a lot of people just kind of word of mouth. That's how I first met him. I was actually still an amateur the summer after I graduated Stanford. Was playing a Corn Ferry event in the Bay Area, and I needed a caddy, and he just happened to be a name that's floating around. He had worked on tour for different guys before, and so he had plenty of experience. Was from the area, and we hit it off. And yeah, we took a little hiatus, but I started working with him again about a year and a half ago. So we've been going strong, and yeah, it's been good.
Nice. Nice. What do you need, or what do you look for, like in the personality as a caddy? Like, because I think a lot of people get the caddy and player relationship misconstrued, and it's just like, oh, he's just telling you how far to hit it, and like, what is that conversation like in between shots and stuff like that?
I think one underrated quality is like just like how well you can get along with your caddy because you're spending like 8 hours a day, 30 plus weeks on the road together. Like it's so much time together, and you're bound to have stressful situations, good moments, bad moments. So I think like it's really like straining your relationship. Like you guys really need to be able to get along well, trust each other. But I found for me, like, and this took a little bit of time, like learning, but like I feel like I like to do as much of the stuff on my own as I can, because I always found like if I feel like someone's telling me something and then I hit the shot and it feels like the wrong shot or it didn't go well, like there's a little bit of like a tendency to feel like that they led you astray, or like
Yeah,
they fucked you up or something. But like I feel like
100%.
when I can like take my own ownership, and it's not that I won't ask for his opinion, he's like an 8 iron, but like I want to make the decision myself at the end. Like I'm gonna hit this 8 iron because I think it's the right club, because then if I hit a bad shot, whatever, like it's on me. Like I know, like
I can live with that.
yeah, exactly. Like it feels much better than someone telling you what to do and then you feeling like it's wrong. So I found that like that's the strategy for me, where I feel like the best post shot or whatever. Like we talk about it, we discuss it, but in the end, I'm making the decision. I can live with the decision. If it goes well, it doesn't go well. So yeah, I think that's most of our relationship.
Over the course of a round, like how many times does he give you the stink eye? You give him the stink eye. Like how often on average does that happen? Because I looked at my caddy today and I was
Yeah.
like, bro.
Yeah. I don't know that I try not to get mad at my caddy too much, and I don't know that I've ever like really lit up any caddies for whatever, because like it always feels like I'm hitting the shot, like it is what
Right.
it is, like
Well, not like light them up, like just like even just like messing with them, like yeah, you sure that was the number, bro? Like, because I don't like for me, I agree with you. Like I'm very much in that mindset. Like I hit the shot, like it's only but so much. He just gave me a number, whatever the case may be. But like
yeah,
I got some boys who get take it to like, yo, bro, you not even like, first of all, you're not even like that, fam. Like, I don't even know why you get so upset. Like, you don't even put that much time into the game. So why are you so mad? So like for somebody who's got obviously a lot of action on the game, like, and not like, in betting terms, but just like you end every tournament to win it. And every tournament is obviously a certain amount of dollars and X, Y, and Z. But like to have that kind of skin in the game and, have that trust where it's like, all right, cool. He's saying it's 135, 9 iron, whatever, knockdown, or whatever, and like and making a conscious decision on like, all right, I'm gonna hit this shot. Like you gotta give it to him one time, just like, hey, bro.
yeah. I think like I'm feeling like when that happens, like I need to make sure that he knows he made the wrong choice or whatever too. Like it's
No,
you're right.
no,
Like
for sure. It's gotta be an
giving
obvious
him the look,
situation.
like, all right, we both know that this was your fault.
Right.
Let's just make sure you're
Yeah, just so we're clear. I don't want you to that 8 to 10 could go to 6 to 4. What we talking about?
No wrong ideas. That was not downwind there.
Right. You said side cross. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey man, Steve and them got some good caddies up there, man. Have you made it to Carmel and played up there to Preserve at all?
I've actually never played the Preserve. That's one of the courses down there I've never played. So yeah, I've heard it's sweet though.
Yeah, you got to have a good caddy, man. Because unfortunately, every time we go, we got some good caddies. But that if you don't have a good caddy there, you can have a day. God.
Yeah, and unless if you're on my team, you'll be all right. But if you're not on my team, I'm not gonna say a word. It's like, sir, there's like a Fazio course that a lot of them have false fronts. So if you miss on the short and right, it's just gonna U-turn and come like 40 yards off the green to some shitty lie and just the hardest up and down ever. So basically, like most of the holes, like left and long is good. So if JR's out there and he's like, I'm gonna hit a 9. I'm like, hit the 8. Hit the 8. Hit the 8. It's because like we can make par birdie on the back of the green, but if it comes on the front, it's over. It's a very hard. It's probably a hard bogey, let alone a hard par. It's just the up and down's impossible, and if you chip it up and it turns around and comes back again, now you're looking. You might have double just from hitting the 9, not the 8. You know, it's a big difference in hitting it. I think that's like a funny thing with how hard golf is. Going back to what JR was speaking, like I'll hit a like perfect place somewhere. I'll hit like a perfect 8-iron and just, hold it in the air. Everything's perfect. I'm feeling great. And come up short, spin off the front, or one bounce
Yeah.
off the back down into some pine straw. It's like, damn, it's hard enough to be able to like strike the ball perfectly, but like I should have hit a 7 or
Yeah.
I should have hit a 9 or something. But like, God, it's hard. And like, having friends that are caddies on tour and such, when I play with them, they're like, dude, you just need a caddy. Like, you make the worst decisions ever. Like, why are you going to hit a hard gap wedge with a draw? It's going to roll to the
Yeah.
back of the
Yeah.
green or off the green, when you could hit like a high hold off pitching wedge and just like open it
Yeah.
up and make it stop when it lands. So just bad decisions cost you so many strokes, whether
For
with
sure.
or without a caddy. My wife the other day was asking about how can like a player that's not, number one in the world, how do you get to number one in the world? And I'm like, basically putting,
Yeah.
basically, because like if you play, if any tournament, I'm sure there's a lot of tournaments this year you played in that if you added another 8 under to your round, you would have won the tournament. Right? Like
Yeah.
8 more strokes. And that's like, well, 8 sounds like a lot, but it's really just making 2 more putts a day. Like I'm sure there's 10 putts a day where you're like, that I thought I made it, or it could have gone in, whatever. And you just need like 2 or 3 more of them to drop 4 days in a row. That's 12. That's, 8 to 12 strokes, which is the difference from being, 6 under to 14 under. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
huge difference, but it's not that much difference. It's like,
Right. Right.
you lip out four times a round, and instead of
Yeah.
those 4 lip outs, if they actually go in, like you win the tournament.
For sure.
Damn.
Yeah. It's so interesting, but also, like you said, like I think it makes Scotty Scheffler's dominance these past couple of years that much more impressive, because I feel like he's not actually been putting that well. So, like you said, it's easy to make up a couple strokes on the greens, like, oh, like made a couple extra putts or whatever. But he's literally just hitting it so much better than everyone else. He doesn't even need those extra putts, and he's still dominating. So
Yeah.
it's pretty interesting, and yeah, who knows?
That's what I'm gonna ask you is like as far as like ball striking and stuff, like is that like probably the significant difference between, or is it short game from like going from a place like Stanford when you're playing the cream of the crop in D1, opposed to playing now in the show where you got guys who are cream of the crop from everywhere.
I feel like there's not one thing that's like vastly different. Like everyone's just like a little bit better at everything, right? Like everyone's hitting a little bit farther, a little bit straighter, putting a little bit better. I will say, like, I feel like most people on tour, like their short game it's filthy. Like they can get up and down. They're extremely consistent. Like that's what's keeping everyone grounded, right? Like you're not going to hit it great every day, but if you can chip and putt like fairly consistently, like you're never going to shoot too many over par or leave yourself too far out of it, and then when you hit it good, you just turn it on. So yeah, I think the biggest gap for me at least was definitely my short game. Like I felt like I needed to get a lot better around the greens, because not only like are people's short games better, but like the conditions around the greens are way more difficult on tour. Like the greens are firmer, a lot more elevated, there's longer rough around the greens, so you kind of got to like factor all those in, and they're chipping it closer than I would have been in college. So all that combined, like I feel like that was, for me at least, the biggest jump in trying to compete with guys on tour.
Yeah, do you feel like your game is like elevated since you left school to now? Like, because in school I feel like it's easier to stay competitive and sharpen your tools because you got the team. It's like 4,
Yeah.
5, 6, 7, however many guys you guys carry, and you guys are continuously pushing each other. Where now it's like, it's pretty much on your own deal, and you create your own community and your own team within you, obviously, but also you got other, pros that you guys play, that you probably play with, other, local guys or mini tour guys and stuff like that. Like, how was that going from that standpoint to, grinding and being pretty much back on your own?
Yeah, I definitely think I've gotten a lot better since I graduated college. And it's interesting, it's a lot of ups and downs. Like there's definitely times, even as a pro, I feel like I play around. I'm like, damn, like that was terrible. Like I was better in high school than whatever that was. So, it's not always like good and easy and whatever.
All right, Part 3 podcast. The time has come. The merch has arrived. We are now doing merch. Make sure you go to part3podcast.com to go get your merch, dog. You already know we got Steve in the building, so we coming right with it. We ain't playing with y'all. We coming through with shit y'all gonna want to wear and shit y'all need to be wearing. So make sure y'all tune in, tap in, click that buy button. Send that, Part 3. Holla at you.
I feel like one nice thing about golf is like it's really easy to measure your own success against yourself, right? Like we have statistics, you have what you shoot. Like, you can go out there and just play your home course every day and see what you're shooting. And you have a nice measure of like if I'm getting better and shooting better scores or not. So, I think it's sometimes hard. Like you kind of get lost in the shuffle of like what other people are doing, what other people are working on. But I feel like the most important thing usually is just focusing on yourself. Like, what do I need to get better on? Let's put myself on a plan like that I think would best produce results. And I think everything in life is probably tricky, but especially like for me in golf, like you don't necessarily know if your plan is right or not, right? You're kind of just going down this path of like, okay, I'm making this swing change because I think it's right. Like, I don't know if it's actually going to pay off or not, but you kind of have to have faith. You kind of like got to be confident in what you're doing and you got to put in the work to see if it'll pay off. And you don't really know until you go through it and see. So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I'm kind of there right now, man. I'm kind of going through a swing change, and it's not
Tell
right.
us. What is it? Tell us.
Bro.
Yeah, what are you working on?
So I'm working on getting my plane flatter, and my backs and my follow through. I've been getting it a little too far from the inside, and like kind of hitting a little hook. So I've been trying to get it flatter, and hit it more towards the right side of second base and play that little draw opposed to hitting on the left side of second base and then it's drawn way towards third.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to flatten it out and like, and it feels good at times, but like my main like cue, if I have one for me, is like feeling like I'm hitting an uppercut with my right shoulder when it's coming through, like dropping it and just feeling like it's and feeling connected. But now it's like I get into this position to where I leave my hands out and I'm blocking it out to the right.
Yeah.
Or I'm hitting it, really good and clean and just hitting it how I want to. But like that's kind of my miss right now. But it's like it's okay because I know where I'm gonna miss it at. It's just hard because sometimes that bunker is over there on the right side. You got a 40-yard bunker shot. Greens are running 13 and away from you down slope, downwind. It's like, bruh, it's tough. And I got to press on my back.
Yeah. Two presses. What are you working on, Brandon? What are you working on with your swing or?
My big miss is usually like I play too much of a cut, like especially with the long stuff, like the driver, like my miss is like it'll start slicing a little bit too much and that makes it hard when it's tight or when there's a lot of wind and stuff. So that's kind of what I'm working on. And we've worked this year on like getting my hands a little bit lower at the top. Some guys will have high hands at the top, but they're able to kind of like drop it in the slot and then rotate from there. Like Scotty's a good example. Scotty has pretty high hands at the top, but he does a nice job of dropping his hands a little bit in the transition and getting in a nice spot to be able to hit it well. But I'm more focused on like just getting it a little bit lower at the top. So then I don't need to like work on dropping it and it can kind of just go from there. So yeah, it's been good. It's been kind of a transition. Like you hit some good shots and you hit some terrible ones. And I've started missing it a little bit more to the left than I ever have in my career. So that's kind of a new adjustment, right? Like your shot pattern is just changing from a little bit to the right to a little bit more to the left. And just kind of adapt to that, change your targets, change how you're aimed and work on that.
It's got to be shocking when you see the ball going left, right? When you're like, when you look up and see it going left, it's like, oh shit.
Yeah, it's actually quite a miserable feeling, because I'm aiming down the left, like playing for a cut, and I hit one off the toe, and it's Duck hook and left. Oh, good Lord.
You're
That's
like,
the
caddy.
worst feeling. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What
You
you
don't like
working on,
that.
Steve?
I'm just working on the constant, just trying to not let my arms engage at all. Just hit the ball with my body, and yeah, that's it. Just trying to make it just more consistent, doing things that I can do over and over and over, and not only when I'm like really got it. Like some days I got it and I can do all types of swings and I can time everything perfect and I can do this and that and I can always like square it up. But it's hard when you know, I think it's just I was hitting today and I was like funny. I was okay, I was doing the 2 finger overlap like this, like normal one, but then the two is this. So I'm using this grip and I'm taking my right big toe off the ground, which gives me zero chance of swaying. So then I turn properly and it almost puts me, I like to try to get myself in positions where it's impossible to engage my arms. And so there's certain body positions I can get in at like the top of the swing that all I could do is turn from there and not engage my arms type of deal. So that same shit. And like we and Brandon were talking about taking an extra club or two and you know, just hitting it smooth with my full body, kind of hitting everything connected and hitting it together rather than my arms getting in front of my body or anything weird like that where I have to re-engage my arms to try to save it, which ends up blocking it, or flipper snap hooks or any type of gross shit like that. That's what I'm trying to do, but it's a work in progress. Brandon, when you said you're trying to get your hands lower, so do you do that by going like longer on the backswing or more inside?
A little bit more inside, but I would argue almost like shorter too, because like when I get long, like I get in a good spot, and then like when I try to get longer, like it just lifts, right? Like I lift my hands at the top and it just gets higher. So I've been really trying to feel like my right elbow is a little bit more connected and tucked in at the top of the swing. So, not like the hands and arms like flying away from the body. So I think
Yeah.
that's been for me like the best sort of feeling to achieve that.
It's amazing how technical golf is, and like you can talk to, you know, me and Swish, we're not professional golfers, but like any professional golfer, if you were like run into him at like an airport waiting on a flight,
Yeah.
you're like, so what are you working on right now? It's like, I'll let you know. Like everyone's always working on something, you know, and like I see these girls on the LPGA tour, like in the lobby at like 9 p.m, like practicing like position 1, 2,
Yeah.
3, like with their drivers, like in the lobby because the hotel room's too small. So they have to go down into the lobby to like shadow swing like positions for the next day. And it's like, golly, this game takes a lot of tinkering, just
Yeah. Yeah.
constantly tinkering with it. Like little teeny things can make the biggest change. Today, over the last couple of days, I've been in Asia and I just got back, and so I've been, practicing a lot since I got back. But like sometimes I just go out, I get so where I'm like, I just need a feeling. I just need like one, little something that then as soon as I get it, I'm like, oh, it's on. So sometimes I go out and just try a bunch of weird shit. Like
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
try to get feels because I'm not playing on the level that you guys are. So like, I don't really care. I just really want to hit the ball well. Like how I score, I don't really care about as much. But I do care if I hit it and it feels like shit and it goes 5 foot from the hole and everyone's like, great shot. And I'm like, yeah, but it felt like shit.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
not what I'm out here to do
Right,
is
right, right.
scab it around and like hit fucking Healy cuts all day off the tee that, yeah, they hit the fairway, but it's like, ugh, it felt horrible.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's interesting because you're basically chasing perfection, which is absolutely impossible. Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned the airport. I have a funny story actually. I remember, I think I was finishing up college, but I was walking through Atlanta airport one day, and I saw Andre Iguodala. He was walking through the airport with a couple of his buddies or
Ziggy.
whatever, And he's just there, like making practice swings as he's walking through the airport. Like, he's like waving down his friend. He's like, check this out. I'm like, no way. This dude, like NBA champion, is just making practice swings in the airport here. So, like I said, people are
Yeah,
obsessed and chasing it, dude.
that was probably right after beating me. The hell with you, Iggy. Nah, Iggy's a good dude, man. That's my dog, man. I love Iggy. I gotta get him out there, man.
To some degree, you got to be kind of like even like a little bit psychotic to even just try to chase that perfection, right? Like, it's like, if you really think about it, it's like, what is my life? I'm out here hitting balls. I'm out here, I'm hitting balls. I'm practicing like I'm training for, Q school, but I'm not. I just want to hit the ball properly. And like you said, it's impossible to do it every time. But we are all a little wacko.
Ladies grilling me every day. Like, you act like you're going on tour or something. Like, you can just relax. Like, hey, no, you don't get it. You don't get it. You don't understand. This is life.
Yeah.
I put out to play with Nick Van Exel and the boys, man. I ended up winning money, but I still didn't play like how I wanted to play. And I was like, kind of ticked. She's like, babe, relax. You won $300. Like, relax. But I double bogeyed 18.
Yeah, like, you don't understand. There's a guy at the Pebble Beach range who deals with the balls and like the range and the cart and all that. His name's Juan. And Juan's a legend. So Juan is like, he's like, I'm the happiest guy out here. And I'm like, yeah, you sure look like it. He's like, no, I'm positive. I'm the happiest guy here. And I'm like, yeah. He goes, you want to know why? I said, why? He says, because I don't golf. Like, everyone else is disgruntled and fucking tight and confused and fucking all like angry all the time because you're out there on the range. You see people just hitting it like shit. And I can go from hitting it really, really good. I get where now I'm so nervous I'll start hitting it bad. I'll just go putt. Like, I'll hit like 10, 15 minutes, hit the ball good on the range. I'm like, that's it. I'm done. I'm so happy right now. Like, I don't want to ruin this.
I can't mess this up.
Yeah, I'll just go putt.
Man, it's crazy because I was playing in the Midwestern Am a couple of years ago, and the kid Michael Thombroni, he's now turned pro, Stanford kid. And Carl just turned pro too. Yeah. And I was playing with these dudes, and I'm sitting here looking like, bro, there's no way I should be out here. Like, bro, every shot. Sure enough. And like when I tell you the greens were rolling, like they were rolling easily 13, 14. And this is like a Midwestern Am. Like, I didn't realize like how big the tournament is. Like, but it's kids from everywhere. Sure enough, we played a practice round. I'm just like, all right, cool. Good luck to y'all. Da, da, da. I'm thinking like, my tee time was like 8 something or no, I had a late tee time that day. I think it was, I came in at like 12 or something like that. Somebody else was already done. And the kid in the first group shoots 63. And I was just like, well, I mean, good luck to you boys. I'm not chasing that. Like, I'm not chasing that. Bro, top the first drive, and I'm watching kids just stripe show all day long. Just all day long, getting up from any and everywhere. And I'm just trying, at this point, like, I'm watching them so much, I forgot how to swing the club. Like, I don't even know how to find the face. I'm just like, and honestly, it took me to the point to where, like, even now, and like my boys get mad at me. They said something yesterday. He's like, bro, you never watch somebody else swing. Like, bro, that's etiquette. That's etiquette. Like, bro, I can't watch y'all swing because I'll start doing some bullshit. Like, I can't. Like, I'll look off and like just start walking away or getting in the car and put my club away. It's like, bro, no disrespect to y'all, but like, I'll just start doing some shit that I'm not even supposed to be thinking about because that's not my problem. Do you ever do that? Like, try to take tips from other, like, obviously pros and being around certain guys and guys who played at certain tracks but more than you and ever like try to take tips and just be like, yeah, this shit just don't work out for me. I'm gonna stick to what I do.
I feel like I probably got a little bit lost when I first turned pro because, you're like, trying to take everything in, trying to learn as much as you can from all these guys who've done it for a long time, who've probably done it a lot better than you have. But I think usually people are like the best advice they give is like, you got here for a reason, and like you got to just stick with what you know, right? Like it's easy to get lost. Like,
That's what I am.
yeah, one time played a practice round with Victor Hovland and Aaron Wise, right? And Victor stands up on the first tee and absolutely just stripes his drivers, like piss missile, like super high, far, straight down the middle. I'm like, how the hell am I supposed to compete with this guy? Like, he's driving it straighter than me, farther than me. And I was asking Aaron, and Aaron's like, dude, like, you just got to outputt him. And I'm like, all right, yeah, I could probably do that. Like, you got to just find your own way and find how you can best conquer the golf course, right? It doesn't need to be perfect stripe drives like Victor Hovland. It would be nice, but not everyone can do that. So
Nah,
you got to kind of
yeah.
just figure out how you can do it. So yeah, don't want to get lost.
No, for sure. It's funny because like I was playing with a guy today, and I know he's not like I'm very easily beatable because I'll beat myself.
Yeah,
So I'm watching you. I'll watch you, and they'll be like, oh, "Okay, bet I gotta put it within 8 feet."
yeah,
And then
yeah,
before you know it, the ball's here and it's over there. And it's like, yo, bro, just play your game. And
yeah,
I was watching one of my boys today, and I could see like he's good almost everywhere else except for around the greens. It's super
yeah,
tight lies over there at Frisco. So it's like he's in a struggle bus. So for me, I'm sitting here like, bro, every time you get a wedge in your hand, make it count. Like thinking
yeah,
to
yeah,
myself, like, cause if I see him pull a wedge and I got a wedge, like you got to make this count. And like,
yeah,
fortunately, I was sticking them like 3-4 feet, making putts and like finishing out for pars. But it's just like, I'm looking at the guys that I'm playing with. I'm like, okay, if I out wedge him, I'm good. If I can
yeah,
manage, not 3-putting, I can beat him. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And
yeah,
it's just like once you start thinking of it like that, and I had to realize that playing college golf is just like, bro, if I can turn my mind onto something to where it's like more of a motivation to get me to do something, it's like I'm so much better than looking at somebody like, damn, how the hell am I going to do that or do
yeah, yeah,
something like that? You know what I mean?
yeah, for sure.
Hey, I just was looking on I got my computer open, and I was looking, and they said that this came out like a couple hours ago. This says the golf civil war is over. $2 billion PGA Tour Live peace deal reportedly agreed, and it says that Tiger and Rory obviously had a lot to do with it. That the PIF is going to pay $2 billion to buy 11% of the PGA Tour, and then all of the live events are going to be under the PGA Tour umbrella, and that the PIF they get 2 seats on the PGA board. Have you heard that?
I saw that headline earlier. I didn't really read much into it, but
Yeah,
yeah,
that's what
long
it
time
says.
coming. I feel like it was only, especially since the PGA Tour got Strategic Sports Group invested and became sort of a for-profit group instead of a non-profit. Like, these guys are trying to make money, and I feel like the best way to make money is to combine and get all the best players in the world playing under the same umbrella, right? So,
Sure.
I would think it's got to be good for the game, right? It's been a little bit of division over the past few
Gotta
years,
be.
and yeah, got to be good to get everyone back together.
If 11% is $2 billion, what the hell?
You should invest in it. Swiss, you should
Yeah.
get you a little
How,
piece.
Sway? How, Sway? I can't even buy teas over there. Jesus.
It says that the boss of the tour and the boss of the PIF, they played together over at the Alfred Dunhill Links,
Yeah, yeah.
and they were in the Pro-Am together, and then they just did it again at the Saudi event the girls just did this week. So
Oh, really?
earlier in the week,
Yeah, I heard about that.
they played in another Pro-Am together. So it's amazing. It's like, all right, golf does help business or whatever. It's
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
look,
yeah.
put the two bosses and make them go hit it over a lake
Yeah, yeah,
together.
yeah.
Like, they'll become friends. They'll
Yeah.
start helping each other. It's like, what club are you going to hit?
Yeah,
you going to hit a 4-iron or a hybrid? I'm
yeah.
confused.
Hey, how many strokes you giving me, man? This for 11%. I don't know, dog. Like, damn.
Yeah.
11%. Well, good timing, man. Thank you so much for coming. Where do you head next?
So yeah, down to Cabo tomorrow afternoon. So
Oh,
last three
nice.
tournaments of the year. Yeah, yeah. So try to finish strong and see where it
Worldwide
goes.
Tech, man.
Where
Enjoy
you go
Yeah,
to
it.
yeah.
Cabo, then where? Bermuda?
Bermuda, yeah, and then to Sea Island. So nice little
That's
stretch.
nice. And
Nice.
how do you like this fall schedule? It's the first year they've done it. Is
It's the
that
second year
right?
they've done it, but I actually think it makes a lot of sense. Like this is one of the changes I really respect because, beforehand, like let's say Justin Thomas goes out and has a great year, he can skip the fall, but he's going to start behind the eight ball come the spring. Like he's missed 7, 8 tournaments, didn't score any points or whatever. But now, like you go out, you have a great year. The fall is basically optional. Everyone that finishes in the top 50 doesn't need to play the fall if they don't want to, right? So they can, you play well, you have the liberty of taking the fall off, no consequences, no nothing, and then you start up again in Hawaii in January. So, I think they did a good job, and it's good. It's a little bit simpler, just the calendar year.
And you give
Love it.
everybody else a chance to like really earn their spot, earn their stripes.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I think it helps. Yeah, some of the other guys, like you guys, we can go play to keep our card and whatever. There's better opportunities there, and yeah. So I think I like the shift of schedule. I think it's worked out well.
So, a question: how many tour cards are out there? Like, how many do they give out per season, or
So
is there a certain number? Or
yeah, so this year 30 people got promoted from the Corn Ferry Tour onto the PGA Tour. There's going to be 5 more people that got their tour cards from Q School in December, and then 10 guys from the DP World Tour.
nice
So yeah, total of 45 guys.
to addition to what they already have?
Yeah, yeah. So, and then I would guess there's probably like 170-ish members or so. Probably 200 total, like counting past champs and all that stuff. But only the top 125 are keeping their cards. So there's a lot of like
Right.
shuffling going on.
Mm-hmm.
New blood coming in and
That's
guys
dope.
losing their
Keep it
cards. So,
competitive, man.
yeah,
If you got
yeah,
50, if it's like a 125 rotation and you got like 50 Geller guys who like chomping at the bits, and
yeah, yeah,
the top 50 don't play the fall, so the rest of the 50 get a chance to like really grind at it and like see bro.
yeah, yeah.
I like that.
No,
It makes
it's good.
sense. Appreciate you, man. We got to go out here and play some golf when we down here, when you back in town, man, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. Perfect. Let's do it. Sounds good. Thank you guys.
I'll text you two together and let me know how the bet
Perfect.
went. Let me know
Yeah,
how
yeah.
the bet
for
went. I'll
sure.
text y'all together.
5
Yeah.
aside, yeah.
5 aside. I need
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I'm hitting all 2 irons. I'm hitting that filthy 2 for Steve.
Yeah.
All right, another episode of the world famous Part 3 podcast. Stephen Malbon, J.R. Smith, Brandon Wu. We'll see y'all when we see you.